June marks International Pride Month, the time to celebrate the strides made and raise awareness of the challenges of the LGBTQIA plus community. Activists lament homophobic attitudes, poor access to healthcare, and not having their voices heard. Adriaan van der Berg is a writer and columnist, and he joins us now to talk about efforts to turn the tide in the country and possibly the continent. Adriaan, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Perhaps let's start with your preferred pronoun.
He, him.
Thank you very much. And so how would you characterize the landscape in South Africa when it comes to the community?
We've made huge strides in securing our rights, and there's still a problem, a bit of a problem with representation, but people know we are here and we are productive. We're a productive part of society. We contribute, but there are still things that rankle and that are problems that need to be addressed. Things that concern not just us, LGBTQ people, but also society at large and the public.
What are some of those things?
Well, I can identify three things. The first is a lack of resources. We need anything from, say, a national telephonic and online information service, a referral service with a database that people can access services and institutions dedicated to LGBTQ interests, and where they can just get help. Institutions, and the second thing concerns institutions, is LGBTQ history. Now, people might think immediately hearing that, oh, wow, that sounds really important. And it really is. We've been largely written out of the larger narrative of South African history. And we don't have institutions dedicated to our history, and we don't have a recorded history largely. In the entire country, there is only one institution dedicated to preserving, recording and presenting LGBTQ history, and that is the Gala Queer Archive at Wits, the House of Gala, who does an exceptional job. But we don't have that history. Our young people don't have a source on which they can base their sense of self and identity. Non-LGBTQ people don't realize how fortunate and privileged they are to have their history. We experience a sense of rootlessness when it comes to that. We don't have that. We don't have a connection with our predecessors. We don't have the examples to know how they survived and lived beautiful lives as LGBTQ people, despite their struggles as well. And we'd like to know about their struggles, and so that we can base our own lives on them. We don't have that. And the contributions of LGBTQ people are largely unknown to the larger public and other South Africans. So that is the second thing. And the third thing is the plight of LGBTQ people elsewhere in Africa. We are not paying attention that it is not going well for them. Most people have maybe heard about Uganda's laws, but almost half of African countries have got laws against LGBTQ people, against same-sex behavior, against same-sex relationships, against transgender people. It's a concern, and we cannot live without considering them and getting involved in their plight, and we're not doing that. So those three things, this Pride Month, there's a lot of rainbow flags. It looks very festive and everybody is celebrating, but it is also sometimes time to have a solemn moment to consider our history and also to think about what afflicts us still and these problems. A lack of resources, a lack of institutions dedicated to LGBTQ history, and we're trying to found an LGBTQ history archive, a library at the University of the Free State. And we don't know what's going to happen, what our chances are that authorities will help us. But we need that at every South African university. LGBTQ students have to ask for libraries and an LGBTQ local history archive. And the third thing is the plight of other LGBTQ people in Africa. Those things concern us and the public.
Yeah. Adriaan, tell us a little bit more about the library. So you've identified a problem, and here you are trying to find a solution. What do people need to know? How can people get on board? What voices are you looking for? What is it that people need to know about the library, and how can they plug the gap?
First of all, we need your support. If you go to change.org, we've got a petition. And it is support founding of an LGBTQ library and history archive at the UFS is the title of it. If you search for it, you'll find it. We need you to sign that, but we're not just trying to make it a matter of populist numerical support. We don't want to force the agenda upon university authorities and say that, oh, we've got so many signatures, you've got to pay attention to this issue and to our objective. We want to earn the consideration. We want to prove ourselves worthy. So our motivations for founding such a library and archive at that university are very compelling and very important, and we present them. And they almost stand by themselves without the petition. And we add the petition just as a minor additional thing to prove that it is a socially relevant issue, the public will support it, and that therefore it also deserves consideration. But that we need, and once we get approval, we're going to need funding for book collections and for setting up our services. You can reach me via email on the petition. My email is there under my profile. If you'd like to contribute, we'd appreciate it. We have got international support. You ask about the voices that we want online. On that petition, it's not just a number of signatures, but who has signed. There's Dr. Ronnie Tunlow, an American academic, who's perhaps America's most famous veteran lesbian academic, who has founded a library at UCLA, and whose experience, therefore, in founding a library, and she supports us, and she's available to the University of the Free State. She's offered to help.
Okay.
People like that.
Sure. Adriaan, thank you so much. Unfortunately, that's all the time we can afford. Writer and columnist Adriaan van der Berg.